set, ready to go. Mike Lambert serving. And he goes right to Rosenthal. The sock over the net and down for Sean Rosenthal. Now, one of the interesting ideas about the matchup here is that Stein Metzger played all last year with Jake Gibb on the other side of the net. Gibb was the most valuable player on the AVP tour, and yet at the start of this season, Stein Metzger chose to pick up Mike Lambert and drop Jake Gibb. So Gibb picks up Rosenthal, and here we are.
And it was an unprecedented move. Never before in history has the MVP been dumped to play with another player, but it has worked out very well for Metzger and Lambert so far this year with 3 wins.
This is Rosenthal, and Rosenthal over the top. So Sean Rosenthal, one of the most talented players on tour. High jumper, he's 6'4", hat backwards. Went to Redondo Union High School. 3 career wins. His first one was out here in Belmar, New Jersey in 2003 with Larry Witt. Here comes Metzger. And Rosenthal's dig is going. It's in. Metzger will try it again. Is there any animosity remaining between Metzger and Gibb?
I don't see much. There may be a little. I think Gibb has a lot of motivation to beat this team, but Stein Metzger and the players 10, after they each won their semifinals to qualify for this final, congratulated Gibb, and they seem to get along well, but I'm sure Gibb wants to make a statement here like, I'm still the MVP and I want to take you down.
Lambert to serve, 2-2. And Rosenthal taps it off the top. They played in the first tournament of the year in Fort Lauderdale, and Gibb and Rosenthal hammered Lambert and Metzger 2-0, 21-16 in that second game.
In the final, and making a bold statement, coming out with their only win, as it turned out. Strangely enough, they haven't won since.
Been 10 more tournaments. There's Metzger, and Metzger hits it out of bounds. So Stein Metzger with the hitting error, giving Rosenthal lead 4-2. Best 2 out of 3 games. First 2 games to 21, and the third and final game, if necessary, to 15. Rosenthal back on Metzger. And Metzger spanks one home. So Stein Metzger gets the kill. Come to our first break in game 1. Gibb Rosenthal leading Metzger Lambert 4-3. Hi again, everybody, and welcome. Along with Karch Kara, I'm Chris Marlowe. Last weekend in Manhattan, Mike Lambert and his partner Stein Metzger suffering a crushing defeat. Needless to say, they are motivated today.
You are right. Stein Metzger called it the most difficult and disappointing loss of his AVP career. They are hungry to get back in the winner's bracket or in the winner's circle. They had an opportunity to catch up to the leading team on the tour, Dalhouser and Rogers, but they're going to try and do it today instead with a combination of Lambert's incredible play at the net. He is so powerful offensively, crushing this ball off Dalhouser's dome last weekend. But it also depends a lot on Metzger. He carries the offensive load for this team, and he's going to have to do it again today against his former partner, Jake Gibb.
The opposition, of course, Jake Gibb and Rosenthal, Sean Rosenthal, the youngster, they beat Dalhouser and Todd Rogers in the semifinals, stumped them. They're playing with a lot of confidence.
Well, Rosenthal said it in the players' tent, we're 1-16 against that team. We got the 4-ton monkey off our back by going 3-16 now. I said, well, who's counting? He said, I am. We wanted to get that win and get back in here. Now they have a chance for their win number 2 this season.
So Gibb and Rosenthal trying to win their first tournament since the opening event in Fort Lauderdale. Stein Metzger with the serve. And Gibb hits it off the block. Gibb is the taller of the 2 players in red at the net with the hat going backwards. There's Jake Gibb, the youngest of 11 children. He had 5 brothers, or has 5 brothers, and 5 sisters. And his partner, Sean Rosenthal, will play most of the defense and get most of the serves. There's Rosie.
As will Stein Metzger. This ball should go to Metzger. It does, and that's the strategy against most teams.
Metzger with the tap over the top.
Since you only have 2 players on a team, whoever receives the serve is going to be the one who has to do the offense. And both Metzger and Rosenthal talked about it. They have never been the guys who've had to carry the load until this season. This time, Metzger using that pokey shot over the line, one of his favorite release shots. But both Rosenthal and Metzger have had to carry a load this season that they've never had to carry before. Gibb talked about how fun of a ride it's been to see Rosenthal develop and grow into that position.
Another interesting feature to this matchup, the 2 fellows in red each never played college volleyball. Lambert and Metzger on the other side of the net. They're two of the most decorated college volleyball players of all time, with 4 NCAA championships to their credit. Here comes Metzger. And Metzger pounds it through. He won 3 NCAA titles at UCLA. Should have won a 4th. Couldn't get it done against Penn State in '94.
Only a few guys at UCLA have been able to win 4 out of 4. Metzger coming awfully close, but Lambert winning one at Stanford also, so they're both used to championships in college.
And Rosenthal puts it away. Let's check out who's on top in the race for the season-ending Crocs Cup Championship. And here they are, Lambert and Metzger, a whisker ahead of Dalhouser and Rogers.
And you could see why they were so disappointed losing last week. They wanted a bigger lead than just that mere 18 points that they have by winning last week in Manhattan. They would have increased that lead, but they have an opportunity to do it this weekend instead.
Jake Gibb with the jump floater back on Metzger. And Stein pumps one through.
Now you see how every single serve has gone to Metzger so far, and the first 4 or 5 tournaments this year. Let's watch Metzger this time from behind, challenging the Gibb block and sneaking it under his right armpit there. 6 kills already for Metzger, but the first 4 or 5 tournaments he wasn't used to that. He said it really took some conditioning to get used to carrying the load offensively.
Gibb with the bad pass, which leads to the errant set and the hitting error. So Metzger and Lambert, there's a good sequence there. We're in the midst of game 1. We are tied at 7. AVP Brooklyn Open presented by Cushman and Wakefield. We're back at 7-7 for Report on the Sand. Let's go down to Heather Cox. Heather.
Chris, one of the job hazards of being a beach volleyball player is the playing surface itself. Always unpredictable. It can be hard, soft, hard-packed, and hot. Well, this weekend it's been all about the debris. It's been littered with shells, rocks, even cut pieces of glass. In fact, players have been cut on their hands, their feet, their knees throughout the weekend, so much so that before this match, 18 volunteers were out combing the sand to look for pieces of debris like this. We got pieces of glass, shells, huge rocks that these players have had to contend with all weekend long. Just one of the things, not many job hazards of a beach volleyball player, but this is certainly one of them.
All right, Heather, what's the most unusual thing, Karch Karai, you've ever found in the sand when you've been playing?
A buried pit of barbecue coals that was still hot the next day, and we burned our feet on them.
Rosenthal got blocked. Here's Jake Gibb. All right, let's re-identify for you. If you just joined us, Jake Gibb is right there. The big kid, 30 years old from Utah. His partner is Sean Rosenthal, the jumping jack. Right there, 26 years old. On the other side, the 2 Olympians. Mike Lambert, 2-time indoor Olympian, and is looking for his first beach berth. And of course, Stein Metzger, who played in the 2004 Olympics and finished 5th with Dax Holdren.
And picking up on that thought, earlier in the tournament, some qualifiers were digging up bones. They didn't know if it was like an ancient burial ground or what was going on here.
Barbecue ribs. And Stein Metzger cuts it inside. The series between these 2 teams is tied at 5-5. They played in the finals twice, once in Sacramento and the earlier one in Fort Lauderdale. Gibb and Rosenthal winning the earlier match, and then Lambert Metzger winning the finals in Sac. Here's Gibb, and Gibb smacks it. For a report on Gibb and Rosenthal, let's go down with Mike Dodd.
Thanks, Chris. You notice that Sean Rosenthal's really been hitting well against Lambert so far at the early part of this match, and I think that was key for Rosenthal to get his confidence up, to move the ball around, hit high off the block. He's doing a real good job, and so far they're off to a good start.
Rosenthal with 5 kills. 9-8, Gibb and Rosie. What a dig by Rosenthal. And he puts it away. That's why they call him the son of Torel.
Amazing athletic talent, and that's the kind of play they were playing earlier this morning, Chris, and Gibb and Rosenthal got up, thanks to plays like that, up to a 9-4 lead in the second game. What a dig by Rosenthal here, and a great put away. But then the wheels came off the bus, and from 9-4, they went on to lose 20-13, so they want to come back much stronger this final.
10-8, Gibb and Rosenthal. Rosenthal another dig. Rosenthal and Gibb beat Dalhouser and Rogers in the semis, so Dalhouser and Rogers finished 3rd, along with Casey Jennings and Matt Furbringer. Nick Lucena and Sean Rooney get a well-deserved 5th. They played well. Ty Loomis, Kevin Wong, Anthony Medell, Fred Souza, Kenyon Seaman, Matt Olson finished 7th. And Karch Karai,
You're having to look pretty far down there,
Where are
Chris.
you?
Number 17.
Oh, there you are. 17th with Larry Witt. What happened?
We just had a rough one. Boy, a lot of teams have taken one of those this year, and I guess this weekend was our turn for our worst tournament of the year.
10-9 our score. And that ball spiked out of bounds.
And that is the kind of hit that made the wheels come off the bus earlier today when these teams faced each other. Those are the kinds of hits that Rosenthal has to keep to a minimum. Again, we talked about it in the tips, that they have to make them play. They have to make the other team beat them, and that's not doing that.
10-10 our score. Pressure on Rosenthal as he's getting most of the serves. There's another one. And Rosenthal dug by Metzger. Metzger looking for a point, and he's got it. Dynamite, his first kill. And the first lead for Lambert and Metzger. So Metzger loosened it up. 11-10 our score. The 12th stop on the AVP Crocs Tour, the AVP Brooklyn Open presented by Cushman and Wakefield. Chris Marlowe, Karch Garai, Mike Dodd, Heather Cox. 11-10, Lambert and Metzger lead. I believe I said it was Metzger's first kill. That was not correct. Metzger has 9 kills. That was his first kill in transition off a dig. So Metzger and Lambert lead for the first time. Our stat man today, Mike Sondheimer, giving us the info. And off, Metzger out of bounds. Gibb and Rosenthal in the red trunks. Metzger and Lambert in the dark trunks.
And you can see one of the things, the hallmarks of Metzger's defense. Look, watch how he gets down almost on one knee, sometimes even 2 knees. He can anticipate the other hitter's direction so well that he can dig in there, almost set up his campsite, but he wasn't able to control that one.
That ball spiked out of bounds. One injury note for the tournament this weekend. George Romain, playing with Sean Scott, broke his finger.
It was actually a horrible dislocation that opened up the skin. In fact, it was so bad, we were supposed to play next, and the referee took one look at it and passed out himself. So we needed medical all over that court.
So George Romain badly injuring his finger. He is out for the year, we are told. And that's a double contact or lift. Double contact, says our first referee today, Richard Blue. Our second referee, in case he comes into play, is Dave Karstensen. There's Blue. So now Metzger, who played with Jake Gibb last year and won 4 times, the most wins of any team on tour. And Rosenthal pops it through.
But they've given up a 10-8 lead so far, and they need to get back in this game by either digging a ball or blocking a ball on Metzger, or if they're not getting any serves, if they're not getting any points off Metzger, then they might think about trying Lambert once or twice, just to change up the strategy a bit.
So far, Lambert has not gotten a serve, and there's another one to Metzger. Here comes Metzger, and he's dug. Rosie is there. Sean Rosenthal, tappy, yes. Now, I think most people would tell you in volleyball that this kid has unlimited talent, unlimited potential, and when his mind is right, virtually unstoppable.
And what they have been working on this year is to get him more consistent play. Mike Dodd's been working on that, and he used one of those shots right there in this play. The smart thing to do, he could go for the straight down crush, but sometimes he needs to mix in those soft shots. He did that superbly, that play.
Rosenthal already with 8 kills. Rosenthal's idol growing up was Michael Jordan. He was a young basketball player. Didn't take up volleyball till later as Metzger pounds one through.
And that's the kind of set that Metzger likes. High and right in the middle of the court, and he calls it chopping. He can chop back to the line to his left or the other way. That time he chopped it to his right underneath the Jake Gibb block.
So Gibb and Rosenthal trailing by 1, 14-13. Lambert serving. Metzger's got it. And he puts it away. Nice set by Lambert. So Metzger and Lambert turning transition plays. And move over at 15-13. We're coming back to Coney Island. The AVP on NBC will continue. Mike Lambert set to put the ball in play. The pride of Kaneohe, Hawaii, now living in Costa Mesa. And he's ready to go. 15-13 our score. Lambert and Metzger are ahead. And Rosenthal. Now we've seen Rosenthal hit a number of balls straight down right-handed. But somewhere in this match, we will see him tee off left-handed. He is ambidextrous.
Absolutely. And easy for you to say, right? He breaks that left hand out, and he even says it. I don't know when I'm going to use it, but when it is out there, he just cracks it. And it's not a soft shot. It's straight down hit.
Here comes Metzger. And Metzger taping a lot of balls. Rosenthal. We had Rosenthal again on the right side with some heat. Tied at 15.
Both Rosenthal and Metzger showing us what great defense they play. And one of the reasons they play great defense is because they have such strong blockers in front of them who do something what we call funneling the ball. If they take an area away, there's only one other place the hitter can go to, and that's to his defender.
Rosenthal played with Larry Witt a year ago, and then hooking up with Gibb. Now Witt is playing with Kartskarai, as Gibb can't quite get there. Lambert and Metzger, their Bud Light summary, their road to the final, playing very well. Just 2 sets, 2 games per period.
And next to last one there, you can see against Gibb and Rosenthal, close one in the first one, but 21-13 after being down 9-4. It was an amazing comeback, and one Gibb and Rosenthal certainly didn't enjoy.
16-15 now.
Go!
And the ball right to Metzger.
And line.
Stein Metzger pounding it through. Our Bud Light summary for Gibb and Rosenthal.
And by virtue of that loss that they had near the bottom, they played 1 extra match, beating Wong and Loomis in 2 close games. But their big win at the bottom there, for the first time this year, they beat the winningest team on the AVP Tour. Dalhousie Rogers got a big monkey off their back. They were down 20-19 in game 2, but won the last 3 points to finish it out.
Switch!
Rosenthal, and there's the left. So that was the first left-handed spike for Sean Rosenthal. Lambert got a hand on it and nearly roofed it.
And you could hear Lambert yell out, switch, switch, like he was blocking line. He changed his block to the angle, and he's really disappointed in himself in not getting that left hand far enough over the net. And it slipped between his left hand. Watch here, it's too far off. And that's the big sin any blocker can make. He's a great blocker, but on that one, he didn't get across the net enough, and that ball's going to fall between him and the net.
So far, no blocks for either team. 17-16 our score. Metzger continues to pound away. So Stein Metzger getting served. That's his 14th kill in 17 attempts. That's a very high percentage for Stein Metzger. What do you like about his hitting style, Karch?
He just has 3 or 4 shots that are all difficult to control or to stop. And when you have that many, it's like a pitcher with 3 or 4 great pitchers who can use them in any count. It's just too hard to read him.
Big serve to Rosenthal. And Rosenthal pounds it through.
And again, Lambert's left hand, left shoulder coming off the net. If he can stay and keep his shoulders parallel to the net, he'll have better chance. Watch this left arm coming back off. He's already turning his body, anticipating the dig. He needs to keep that left shoulder right along the net. He'll be a more effective blocker. It's just very fine tuning. He's one of the 2 leading blockers on tour, but he's got 0, as you mentioned before, Chris. Both these guys with 0 blocks. I wouldn't have called that at this point in the game.
Game 1 of our men's championship final. Metzger and Lambert leading 18-17. Metzger. And the dig could not be controlled. Another point. So make it 19-17 now. Stein Metzger and Mike Lambert, who won their first tournament of the year June 15th through the 18th when they broke through in Sacramento. It's been a very consistent team. They haven't won as much as they thought they would have. Rosenthal, cut shot, good. That cut shot virtually undiggable.
And that would be one of those so-called release shots when nothing's not quite, when it's not quite lined up perfectly and you can't take a hard swing. That's a good second shot to have, and Metzger was nowhere close to that. Now is the time for Gibb, though, to make something happen here. They have to serve Metzger tougher, get a bad pass so that Gibb might get his hands on his first block.
The serve is there to Metzger.
And nobody.
At 19-18, and Gibb can't pick it up. So Stein Metzger with his 16th kill.
Boy, and that was the opportunity. He got the bad pass he wanted, but didn't get the dig.
20-18, the first game point for Lambert and Metzger. Lambert on the runway looking for a jump serve takeoff. To 18. Lambert. And Rosenthal pumps it through. Pretty good call by Jake Gibb. Angle.
Screaming out. That's one thing every volleyball player has to do in beach doubles is give his partner the release shot, give him the open area of the court. But now they might think about actually trying Lambert. Metzger has been so strong. This would be a good time to serve Lambert. He hasn't received one serve this game. 19
serves to Metzger, none to Lambert. Would Rosenthal go there? It's second game point for Metzger. This could be it. Not yet. Gibb touched it. It's got to go over. Back to Metzger. Lambert on one. See ya! Mike Lambert finally got a chance to attack.
And boy, did he. My gosh, he crushes that one, and it's his first kill to finish the game. 21-19. This is a play Lambert and Metzger like to run.
Lambert and Metzger lead this match 1-0. We'll continue with more AVP on NBC after this. The wave rolling in Coney Island. This is the AVP Brooklyn Open presented by Cushman and Wakefield. Metzger and Lambert win game 1, 21-19. Let's hear from both teams. Let's get down to the sand. Heather Cox is with Stein Metzger. Heather.
You beat this team earlier, a 2-point win in game 1. Are there any adjustments to be made in game 2?
I don't think so. I think we have a good game plan going right now. We just need to execute a little more. Lambo's making good moves on his block and just barely missing some blocks. I imagine he could have had 4 more in that game, which would have separated us by quite a bit. So we're going to do more of the same out there, and I just need to take care of the ball inside out.
All right, the opponent is with Mike Todd.
Sean Rosenthal, you had a real nice start to the first game. What are you and Jake going to have to do to get over the hump here in game number 2?
Well, I think we started the ball out well. We just got to make a few defensive plays. I got to control a couple digs, and Jake's going to give me some blocks coming up game 2.
Couple digs, couple blocks. That's all it takes. Chris, Karchi, back up to you guys.
Okay, Jake Gibb as a blocker is 5th on the AVP Tour. Mike Lambert is 2nd behind Phil Dalhouser. Between them, they had 0 blocks. So Lambert and Gibb, I would expect to see a lot more blocks in this game, too.
As you mentioned, virtually identical statistics, and that's why it was 21-19. 0 blocks for both teams, about 17-18 kills for Metzger on one hand and Rosenthal on the other. But Rosenthal and Gibb might think about switching it up a little. Metzger is in such a groove right now. He was virtually unstoppable that game.
First serve of game 2 goes to Mike Lambert. And I think that's a good move, Karch.
That block was only about 2 feet out, but Gibb for the first time actually got his hands on the ball.
These two teams know each other very well, very evenly matched. The 11th meeting between Gibb, Rosenthal, Metzger, Lambert. And Rosenthal easily going inside.
And you can see on that play, it wasn't his hardest hit, but it was a really smart hit. And that's what Rosenthal, let's listen to it from the position here and listen to the angle call here from Gibb. And so what Gibb was saying is the angle is open. Metzger has run to the line. You can hit it anywhere over there, and Rosenthal did a great job. Not a straight down crush, but a nice controlled hit.
The Gibb serve is out. Karch, when you play, and you've been playing, how do you decide who to serve? How do you make that decision?
Well, you watch what other teams do, you listen to what other teams talk about, and you try out different strategies. And if one doesn't work after 4, 5, 6 points, then you have to make quick adjustments. That's part of it, is almost coaching yourself or having a coach to remind you, hey, look, 6 points, we didn't get anything in 6 tries off Metzger. Let's try something else.
Rosenthal, cross court, out of bounds.
Now that one I don't understand. Rosenthal has been so strong on the left side, but that time he decided to go for a back set and hit on what we call the right side of the court. I think he's been much better so far this tournament, not going to his right like we see here, but staying over on his left. He'll be able to stay with the same thing and play more consistently.
3-1, Metzger Lambert. Back to Rosenthal. And that's off the hands, out of bounds.
And that time Rosenthal stuck with his bread and butter, and that is staying in front of him, staying on the left side of the court, challenging the Lambert block and putting it away off the block.
Gibb and Rosenthal, the 5th seeded team here in Coney Island. Lambert and Metzger still the #1 seeded team, despite the fact that Dalhauser and Rogers have won the most tournaments.
And the reason why is that Lambert and Metzger have made every single Final Four this season. Dalhauser and Rogers have missed 3 of those, and so Lambert and Metzger have been more consistent.
Pretty good pass there. Another back set for Rosenthal, and we're going to call a lift on Jake Gibb. So Richard Blue didn't like that set. Let's listen.
Looked like it doubled in the hand. It didn't come out good. That one looked worse than the other 2. I'm not calling spin. I'm not calling. That one looked like a bad set to me. Okay? I came in and came out. It didn't look like a clean contact. Okay?
That's funny, Karch. I didn't think that was a double, but it looked like a lift. It looked like it just stuck in his hands.
It looked like a bad
well,
contact.
a lot of Jake has a longer touch on the ball, and it doesn't come out as quickly. That one didn't look that much different from the other ones he had. Again, Rosenthal deciding to go backwards, putting a little pressure on Gibb to make the back set. I think they're better off keeping it simple.
Gibb and Rosenthal in a bit of trouble here in game 2, trailing 5-2. The last fellow in that little montage had it best. That's what everybody sounds like in New York, a little bit louder than the average bear.
Exactly, the cars and everything. I saw a sign the other day riding in the taxi. It said no honking, $350 fine. I don't know if they've ever enforced that one in the city. That was a new one. I've never seen that.
Chris Marlowe, Karch Karai, Mike Dodd, and Heather Cox. The AVP Crocs Tour on display here in beautiful Coney Island. What a great spot. This first-time event here in Coney Island, and the AVP organizers were telling me a little earlier, they love it here. The publicity, the anticipation. It's got a great first-time crowd as Lambert serves up the ace.
Well, it's the first time the AVP's ever played outdoors in one of the 5 boroughs of Manhattan or of New York, and the players are really excited at long last to get here to New York, the biggest media stage in the world. We've been to Chicago, been to Miami, Florida, but finally the tour has gotten to New York.
Lambert and Metzger leading 6-2, and it's another ace for Lambert. So Lambert with 2 in a row. Of course, you can't come to New York without thinking of Nathan's hot dogs. Remember, Kobayashi, about a month back, ate 53 3/4 hot dog. What happened to the other quarter?
They have it posted on the sign. It's digital. It says 53.7. I was out there yesterday, and I ate 51.7 less.
Karch gobbling down a couple of doggies yesterday. A 5-1 scoring run for Michael Lambert and Stein Metzger. Gibb and Rosenthal really in trouble here. They got to get their act together. What a dig by Lambert. And that ball was outside the antenna. Good call by Richard Blue.
But you can see one of the things that Mike Lambert has really been working on, in the one thing he could improve this year was his serving. 2 aces and a near ace causing another point opportunity, and it's making things a lot easier for the team of Lambert and Gibb when they have that kind of difficult serving.
So Jake Gibb, who didn't start playing volleyball to the age of 21. His twin brother got him involved. That was Coleman Gibb, part of the big family. Now Gibb has to get going. There's the blocking. What does that mean, Karch? 1-1.
That means take line in either direction. But you mentioned before, neither of them really played organized volleyball. They give a lot of credit to their coach, Mike Dodd, for teaching them so much and learning not just on the volleyball court, but learning from Mike Dodd just as a person, as a father, and as a husband.
Metzger, and Metzger chops it out. So one of the few hitting errors today for Stein Metzger, just 2. Oh, for a report on Rosie Gibb, let's go down to Mike Dodd.
Well, thanks, Chris. Karchi, you were talking about how there has been little blocking so far. I think a lot of that has to do with the great ball control for both teams. But talking to Jake Gibbs on the sideline, he said, I've got to do something to take Metzger out of his comfort zone. So look for Jake Gibbs to just move it around and do more plays like that, funneling the ball straight to Sean Rosenthal. Back up to you guys.
And you're right. It's unusual that Gibb has not had any blocks. Other matches this year, we've seen Gibb be very effective because he knows Metzger's shot so well, having played with him all of last year. Is there anything, Mike Dodd, that he needs to do differently?
Well, you know, when they have had success against Metzger and Lambert, it's when Jake has really gotten into Stein's head and moved his hands well at the net and gotten all over Stein's shots. Right now, Stein is really swinging with a lot of freedom. And Jake touched that ball on the block, so that's why Rosenthal didn't go for it on that play. Jake had to get that one over the net. But Stein, to his credit, has really been playing well the last 3 or 4 weeks, the last month, really hitting with a lot more freedom, a lot more confidence. And so Jake just said he's got to get more into Stein's head and just do different things at the net to make things happen. Let's go over to Heather.
Speaking of what's in Stein's head, during the last time out, he told me I've been hitting the tape a lot, especially in game 1, which you guys noted. I asked if it was fatigue, and he said, no, I'm just waiting too long looking at Gibb, and I'm also dropping my shoulder. So he continues to try and hit higher, make those adjustments so that the ball doesn't bounce off the tape and slow down the velocity of his hits. Metzger
has been spectacular today. His team won the first game 21-19. Metzger and Gibb, Metzger and Lambert ahead 8-6 here in game 2. It's been all Metzger and Gibb so far. Metzger and Lambert. Metzger and Lambert, the top-rated team on the AVP Tour.
And Gibb still without a block. There have been other matches where he has racked up 4, 5, 6 blocks in a game against Metzger, knowing his shots well.
And Metzger spikes another one through.
We talked about it earlier, but just to reiterate, both Metzger and Rosenthal have never really been considered the weaker offensive players in teams they've played on until this year. They're receiving almost all the serves. Metzger talked about how physically tired he was in the first 4 or 5 tournaments, and it really dragged him down, but he feels like he's gotten over that hump now, and it's visible because he's having such a strong offensive game here today.
Yeah, good point, Karch. He's spiking a lot more rather than using shots. Here comes Lambert, and Lambert into the net. So score a point for Gibb Rosenthal. When is Gibb going to come up with the big block to turn things around? Can he in game 2? Without the blocking, you would think their chances are very slim here. 9-7, Metzger. Ball's dug, and Gibb can't get there.
And you can see it from the side. Lambert is putting that set in a very good position for Metzger, not too close to the net to the big blocker, about 3 or 4 feet off the net, and Metzger is just pounding it. Here we can see an end view. Rosenthal has to take that angle because Gibb had the line, but it got a little too far to Rosenthal's right. He couldn't control it with one arm.
Metzger's team up by 3. This is game 2. Stein Metzger guessed right. And he lowers the boom.
And that time we could hear again the call from Gibb. Angle, 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 but Rosenthal wasn't able to react and hit a soft shot down the line. Metzger was there to gobble it up.
Gibb and Rosenthal trying to click in here. They trail 11-7. And Rosenthal dug off the left hand. Metzger. No, he missed it. And Metzger unhappy with himself after a beautiful dig. And what a read. He saw the left hand coming.
Boy, it's so hard. Even Rosenthal doesn't know when he's going to hit the left hand. I don't know how Metzger did, but he was all over that shot, well placed, and then very mad at himself for not putting that ball away. Still, I think Rosenthal and Gibb, if they're having trouble getting any points off Metzger, they should try Lambert a few. Gibb touched him once, the first serve of this game, too.
Lambert is still only received one serve. And Gibb a near block. That's the second solid block that Gibb has had, but both have been out of bounds.
Frustrating match for Jake Gibb, averaging almost 2 blocks per game on the tour, actually over 2 blocks per game on the tour, and he can't get one, and we're almost at the end of game 2 now.
So pressure on Jake Spiker Gibb. 12-8 our score. And Rosenthal, you know, we say pressure's on Gibb. Well, certainly to block the ball, it's on Gibb, but to side out and to carry the offense, the pressure's on Rosenthal.
To carry the offensive load, it's Metzger on one side and Rosenthal on the other.
Metzger Lambert lead it 12-9. Big crowd here on Coney Island watching the 2006 AVP Crocs Tour. This is the 12th stop, the AVP Brooklyn Open. 16 tournaments this year for the Crocs Tour in 11 different states, and that is an ace. So a little shorty, Gibb and Rosenthal taking a chance, and it pays off.
And that's something they can try also, is not just putting the serve in Metzger's lap, but mixing it up, pushing him deep a little, and then that time mixing in the short serve so effectively it was an ace.
Back on Metzger. And I think you're right, Karch. Gibb and Rosenthal, they need a change of strategy right here. They've got to start going to Lambert. You know, Lambert, he might fall down and break his ankle or something. You have to try him more than they are.
He's gotten blocked before, gotten dug before. Obviously, he hits higher and harder than Metzger, but they still, you can hear Lambert there saying left, left, left. Hit it to your left. That's the open shot. Metzger reacting perfectly. Metzger's been so solid in such a good groove. They've got to get him out of it, if only by serving his partner for a couple of times.
Off the head, and of course when Lambert doesn't get served, he's fit and able for blocking duty. That's the first block of this match
for either of these two huge and very successful blockers on the AVP Tour. Amazing that it's only one. Again, Rosenthal having trouble when he goes behind. He should stay to his side of the court. His offense has been much stronger today on that left side.
14-10 our score.
Now he's staying to his left side.
And it's off Metzger. This kind of reminds me of a match I played in when I was a youngster coming up. We played Greg Lee and a guy named Mike DeRocher. We thought we should serve Greg Lee all the time, so we served him every ball for 2.5 hours in the hot sun. We ended up losing by like 2 points, and then when the match was over, his partner, Mike DeRocher, had to go to the hospital. The paramedics came out, he collapsed. If we had served him 3 or 4 times, we would have won that match. That's Sorrento. George Stepanov, Chris Marlowe pulling the bonehead move, serving Greg Lee every time.
Well, you only have 21 points in this type of game. After 5 or 6, if you're not getting anything, try something else, if only to cool off Metzger. They should give him a break and make him start and get that groove back by giving Lambert a few serves.
(15-11) our score. And Metzger puts it away.
Wow. What a play by Stein Metzger. Watch how he chases down the soft shot, but the tough thing in volleyball is you got to get right back up. You're the one who has to do the offense after digging a ball, and he slips it past the Jake Gibb block. Jake knows that shot and is so mad at himself for letting Metzger get that one by him. Metzger earning point number 16, got a 5-point lead, are in the driver's seat to win this match.
25 kills for Metzger. He has never played better. Now Lambert serving. And the ball out of bounds. So a service error, and Gibb and Rosenthal backs against the wall, frustrated. They need to make a charge. When we come back, we'll have more of the AVP Brooklyn Open after these messages. Stay tuned. We're back at the AVP Brooklyn Open presented by Cushman and Wakefield. 16-12, Metzger leads it. Let's go down to Heather Cox.
Hard to believe Stein Metzger, one of the best players in the world, yet doctors told him he would never be able to compete athletically. When he was just 3 years old, he would walk up hills, his lips and nails would turn blue. He was diagnosed with a hole in between his ventricles. Now, he had extensive heart surgery to patch the hole, but athletics were ruled out. Then when Stein was in 11th grade, he decided he wanted to play volleyball, but doctors said no. Now, to make the decision even more heart-wrenching, the Metzgers had already lost 2 young sons to disease. Ultimately, the Metzgers left the decision up to Stein. He was adamant, found a specialist who would ease the risks and told the family it was okay. Since then, he decided to play. He's had no ill effects. And guys, just an amazing journey from someone not being able to walk up a hill to becoming an Olympian and one of the best players in the world.
And we finally see a serve number 2 go to Mike Lambert, and Jake Gibb racks up his first block. It's about time they changed up the strategy a little, got a block on Lambert.
So here they go. Is it too late to work on Mike Lambert? They block him again. Here comes Metzger. If you look very closely at Stein Metzger, as Heather's story revealed, that he has about a 6-inch scar right in between his pecs, his chest muscles. You can't see it well, but it's a significant scar, and certainly a challenge to be playing with that.
An amazing story that at some point he had to decide whether he wanted to actually take a risk, a life risk, and play volleyball or not. But he has had no ill effects and competed in the 2004 Olympics and hooked up with Lambert in the hopes to compete in Beijing.
Here comes Rosenthal. Now the question is, can Rosenthal and Gibb make it a game here? They've changed their plans. Now it looks like they're going to Lambert, but is it too late? It's 17-14.
It may be with that 3-point lead. Could be 4 if Lambert puts this ball away. But Gibb has now gotten 2 or 3 good touches as a blocker against Lambert.
Back on Lambert. Nice up. And Gibb can't control it. It was off the chest of Rosenthal.
But it went right to Gibb, and he just put out too strong a hand there. Nicely done by Rosenthal. They're touching everything that Lambert's hitting right now. Good change of strategy.
Mike Lambert and Stein Metzger a week ago in the dumps.
Watch here, sorry, Chris. Watch here as Gibb turns off and hits it too hard with his right hand there. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
That's all right. Losing at Manhattan. Trying to rebound here. Rosenthal with authority. Gibb and Rosenthal not dead yet.
No, they aren't, and that's the shot that people love to watch Rosenthal hit most. He comes in facing the left and bangs it down the line. Risky shot on Lambert. If Lambert gets his hands in the right spot, that's coming back hard, but that time the shot was open. Now they go back to Metzger.
18-15 our score. Got a chance here. Gibb. No! Lambert with the block.
But just by going away from Metzger for a couple of plays, they cooled him off and got a dig and a point scoring opportunity. That's what they needed to do earlier in this game to cool him off.
Lambert and Metzger right on his blocking average. Well, normally gets 2.25 per game. He's got 2 in the match. Here comes Rosenthal again, and he tees off. No more soft roll shots for Rosenthal. So Gibb and Rosenthal have gone over to the good side. The crowd trying to rev them up for a run here. And they'll talk it over.
Mike Lambert talked about losing in Manhattan, and he wasn't that disappointed because they just played well. That's what's happening.
Men's championship final. Metzger and Lambert just 2 points away. Game 2. Lambert and Metzger just 2 points away from the championship here in Brooklyn. It's 19-16. Lambert gets a chance on the right side. And he cuts it through. Lambert and Metzger won game 1, 21-19. Here in game 2, they lead 20-16. Championship point as the crowd stands. Lambert and Metzger trying to win their 4th tournament on the AVP Crocs Tour this season. This could be it right here. Lambert to serve. first championship point. Rosenthal got it. Wow. Hasn't been enough. There have been some big hits, some great plays by Gibb and Rosenthal. But Metzger and Lambert have been better.
You know, they've really been solid. It's not like they've beaten themselves much. It's just that they're probably the only thing they did wrong was switch strategy too late.
Second championship point coming up for Lambert and Metzger. Gibb and Rosie trying to fashion an old-fashioned kind of comeback.
And they got a bad pass out of Lambert the last play. A point-scoring opportunity, weren't able to convert. See if they go at Lambert again.
For the championship, Stein Metzger.